There's a growing concern about the leadership found in today's Nigerian youth population. For some school of thought, the question is, do Nigerian youths have leadership skills that will transform the country economically and socially? Where lies the gap that discourages growth and entrepreneurial development in our youths? Are we investing enough building leadership capacity and enterprise development in the youth, who are said to be 70% of the whole population? These are the questions to be answered on this edition of Bridges, as we engage Nigerian youths to speak out on these and other related matter. Welcome to Bridges, still working for a sustainable Nigeria.
Bridges.
Today on the panel, I have with me Linus Okorie, President, Guardians of the Nations International. You're welcome on Bridges. And the only woman able, that is sandwiched between the two men, Dr. Chichi Okoye, who is the Country Director, Oxfam. Ma'am, you're welcome on Bridges. And Ekanem Isichi, who is a consultant, Corporate Council on Africa. You're all welcome. And of course, the Nigerian youths that I promised you are all here ready to be on Bridges. You're all very welcome on Bridges. Thank you very much. Let's quickly go to our panelists, and I'd just like us first to define leadership and against the background of the concerns that the generality of Nigerians have, that our youths are lacking this. So any of you can start, really. Any of you. I throw it at any of you. Okay, Linus, I think, so everybody looking at you. Okay, right.
Yeah, there are different school of thoughts, on leadership definition across the world. But the one that struck me most is the one that Dr. Miles Monroe, one of the authorities in leadership in the world, defined. He says leadership is the ability to inspire, motivate, drive a group of people towards a particular direction by inspiration, not intimidation or manipulation. So if your action can inspire people to do more, learn more, become more, make a difference, if your action can do that as an individual, it doesn't mean you have a position. I'm talking about the leadership definition is an individual definition that puts an individual in a place where within the community, the individual is inspiring people as a result of his actions, as a result of things that he says to people, as a result of the things that he does. So he's serving the community, and at the end of the day, it
starts from the basics.
Absolutely,
it's not about the position you hold.
Not at all.
It's about your individuality.
The individuality. I mean, once you can do that, people can now begin to get more influence in the communities rather than just seeking for position, as the case may be.
What's your take?
I think for me, leadership is about having the skills to be able to understand, interpret, and harness the society or the community in which you're in. So to be a leader, you have to first of all have the skills. You have to be able to interpret situations, and you have to be able to then control those situations. So for me, it's more about being able to build your capacity as a person to be able to control your environment.
Right.
I'd like to look at this from a very simple point of view. Leadership is about the development of your daily habits into something that is practical, but something that also can motivate, inspire, but also influence. So I think the key is that a lot of people miss out on the fact that every day you have to develop yourself. You have to hone yourself towards what you envision yourself to be or become. So if you develop yourself in the right directions based on your habits, your trajectory will go quite far. But if you develop yourself daily with the wrong habits, obviously you end up the wrong way. So I think it goes back to your daily habits and what you do with those daily habits every day.
So now, do you agree with the school of thought that share concerns about lack of these qualities that we have defined as leadership amongst the growing population of Nigerian youth, vis-a-vis the fact that they are, the leaders of tomorrow? Do you share the same concern?
I do indeed. I think that there's no question that a lot of young people face a lot of challenges in Nigeria. But I think that we have spent a lot of time on the bread and butter sort of issues. So we basically have reduced Nigerians to animals. You know, we say, oh, people have to eat first. And so everything that we do is we concentrate on trying to feed the belly and not the mind. And so in a way, it's also not the fault of young people, because they have also been channeled into seeing life just about filling the stomach. But the only way you can fill your stomach is to fill your mind, because it is your mind that determines your behavior, that then results in your being able to feed yourself and have resources. So I think that there is a major gap, and I definitely think that a lot of young people in Nigeria today is completely misguided, and that there is not a lot of emphasis on building the mind, and we don't have a lot of role models as well, because role modeling and mentorship is really important in building leadership. So if you don't have that, and you don't on your own try to build it for yourself, then it becomes really difficult. So I do agree that the gap exists.
Okay.
In fact, leadership flows to the one who knows. Leadership flows to the one who is reliable. Leadership flows to the one who is competent. And if you look at all of these three elements, that I've discussed so far, is hugely lacking in our country today. And look at nations that have made progress, great progress. What they did was simply to take young people on a journey of leadership development. They taught young people the true meaning of values, the core values of integrity, of competence, of the gaining skills and all of that. And so young people grew defining the vision they have for themselves for the future. And so, take for instance, at 21, I had already known exactly what I was doing with my life. So I set up an organization at 21 in my first year in the university. And thus far, 19 years after, we've done so much. Now imagine if every young person, from that foundation will be able to at least find exactly this is what I want to do with my entire life, and spend the entire life of his developing that particular skill set and attitude. Imagine what our country will become.
Are they too set? Is it an environmental thing? Are we too set in what we do? Oh, okay, I'm a teacher. Okay, I'm just going to be a teacher, and that's it.
I think it depends on your level of focus. I think a lot of times people don't realize that they're influenced daily by what they see. And so it goes back to your focus. My mom used to always say, if you've lost your focus, you've lost everything. And so when you're in an environment where maybe people look at maybe this particular individual, maybe stole some money or whatever, and then he's driving big cars, to them maybe that's now becomes an inspiration to them, like she pointed out. But they forget that at the end of the day, it's all about diligence. If you take those practical steps, you'll build an empire. It might take a little time, but you will definitely build an empire as long as you just keep on the straight and narrow. So I think a lot of times people don't understand that we're influenced by our environment, but we shouldn't be, how I put this, we shouldn't fall into the trap, if you want to put it like that. You just stay the course. It's probably the unpopular route, but at the end of the day, it does lead to success.
Okay. Now, are parents responsible for this? Is it parenting, or the society, or the educational standards, or what went wrong?
I think it's everything. But I have to say that parents have their role, teachers have their role, schools have their role, and I've always argued that if you're in an environment where the system works, yes, parenting is important, but you can always whatever deficiency there is at that level can always be taken care of in the school system. There are people who, if you attend certain schools, you would always tell when you see people from that school, because the school is supposed to bring out a certain individual at the end of your education. So it doesn't really matter what background you're coming from. The school system is really where you are supposed to build individuals and leaders. And I think that is fundamentally where the fault is, that the school system is collapsing on a daily basis, that we don't actually have a vision of the type of people that we want. I think that if you look at countries that have developed you could almost tell the type of person who comes out of that country. And we don't have a vision of who is a Nigerian. What do we actually want to say when we say that this person is the archetypal Nigerian? We don't even have any schools that you can say, like you have the Ivy Leagues in different countries. Okay, these are the schools that if you come out of here, then well, these are the schools creating the perfect Nigerian. We don't have any of that, and so people are just living any way they want. So I do agree that families have a role to play, the government has a role, but I think that the school system is the biggest problem. I mean, you actually have people who come from good homes. By the time they're done with the school system, there's something else.
So So the schools, I hope they're listening, the schools educational system, you sure have a role in developing the kind of leaders that we need, particularly as Nigeria strives to join the Committee of Nations. Well, we want to be one of the economic giants come 2020, and 2020 is here. Well, you're watching Bridges. We'll be back, and when we come back, we'll be speaking to the youths who would share with us their thoughts on issues that have been raised by the panelists, and we're on Bridges. Stay tuned.
Bridges, 10 p.m. every Thursday on the network service of the NTA.
Welcome back. You're watching Bridges. We're trying to build a sustainable Nigeria, and today we're engaging the Nigerian youths. We're speaking to the gap in leadership and, of course, entrepreneurial development. At the moment, we come to the youths, as it were. Well, you heard it all from the panelists. We're talking about the deficit in terms of your inspiration, your aspiration, and what makes you, definitely what defines you as a Nigerian. What is your take? Who's speaking on first? Okay.
Yes, my name is Austin Adim. Like the panelists have said, in developed societies, of course, once you are born into that society, you are orientated, you are channeled into a particular national vision. Let's talk about America, that they have American dream. You understand? So the society, there's a system that is scalable, that supports entrepreneurial development, that supports leadership development. But we don't have that kind of vision in our society. There's one distinct thing that makes a developing or a developed society, and that is how we feel about each other. It takes all of us to build a society. It takes my ideas, your ideas, his ideas for us to build a market. I wrote something in one of my articles. I say we become an irresistible national force the day that you and I will understand how valuable each of us is, and each of us will understand how powerful all of us are.
So we need our own uniqueness to stay, for us to step out as a nation. As a nation. Yes, let's hear from somebody. Yes, please.
Good morning. My name is Malami Ibrahim. I'm a media practitioner, but today I'm not here as a media practitioner.
Yeah, just let us know what you're representing the Nigerian youths. Yeah.
Okay. Nigerian youths. Actually, what Madam said, there are a lot of schools that teach leadership. But do you know one funny thing? They will say 1 week, 80,000 naira. Which use has that 80,000 naira to go and attend that training for a week in 80,000 naira? That's what it costs. Everybody want to go to politics so you can make a quick money without training. Most of our leaders are not trained to be leaders. It's just by luck. That's my suggestion.
Thank you very much.
Contribution.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
My name is Victor Julius. I head the Training and Human Capacity Development Unit of the Abuja Youth Summit. I think we are on course here, and to speak from the youth perspective, we live in a society where everything is channeled towards the future. But I believe that today is a building block of the future. You can't jump into a future without today. I think, not talking against our leaders, I appreciate our leaders very seriously, but I think the Nigerian youth has been influenced with this idea of leaders of tomorrow. You are at 40 and they are telling you you'll be a leader of tomorrow. You're not doing anything. You are 40. If you die at 40, that means you die not being a leader at all.
Are you disillusioned?
Well, very seriously, the part of the Nigerian youth is quite pathetic, because I think mostly because we don't have the training, because we don't have the awareness. The Nigerian youth does not have, or most of the Nigerian youth does not have what it takes to be leaders of tomorrow.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with what he has said?
I think I've come to believe that leadership is really in your own hands, and people have to accept the responsibility of leadership upon themselves. When we're talking about Nigerian youth, like the gentleman I mentioned about training and all that, almost everybody here is on Facebook, am I right? That's correct. And so you have access to internet on your phone, am I right? That is correct. But there are online resources like Coursera, which have courses offered by Stanford University and very prominent university, and they are for free online. They're actually free online. But most youths do not know about this. So what you find out is that where your mind or your focus is headed towards, where you actually draw towards. So if you want to head towards what's wrong about Nigeria, then you head towards that direction. But you need to find out what is actually right and what you can do to actually make it better. But so, going back to my point earlier, you need to find out, you need to actually develop yourself and make a decision to develop yourself, because nobody's going to do it for you. We're at those times now.
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay, for me, I think we're missing it somewhere as youths, because most times when you hear young people talk, they say they're not given the platform or they're not given the opportunity to do something. But I think it's a do-it-yourself situation we're in now. You have to, if you want to be a leader, you don't have to go to one office to be a leader. You could be a leader from where you are. So you have to build your capacity, find something, do something, learn. Look for knowledge, not just saying...
Seek knowledge.
Yeah, seek knowledge.
I think he deserves a round of applause for that. Yes.
Okay. My name is Solange Williams. I want to talk about the educational aspects, like in schools. You've had this dream to become a doctor, and as soon as you get to school, you apply for that course, and they end up giving you a different course entirely, something that you've not dreamt to be about. They'll just like confused your dreams. And as a young person, I think that's the stage you need for someone to like carve you properly. But by the time they give you a course that is not something you really wanted, it will end up confusing you, and when you graduate, you become a nuisance.
In fact, I want to stretch on that. You know, it is important, you know, for government systems, from the state, local government, and federal, to create a policy that no young person should get into a higher institution without a pre-talent discovery program. And because if that's where leadership comes from, for leadership to be natural, you can't take a fish out of water and you expect that fish to live. So if we want to build leaders that are natural, that are going to be more impactful, we need people who can grow from the area of strength. They should go into the university, even if it is music, that their talent permits them to study. Their parents should allow them to do that, so that at the end of the day, they will turn out better. They will do it lovingly and passionately. That's how leaders are developed. Anything else, you find confusion. There are people who are in banks today, every morning they say, why am I going to work today? They are confused. They don't want to go to work. And that's why our productivity is low in this country. And I appreciate that point you've raised.
I think I want to say something. Yes. I think it's also fair to say that the reason people don't get into the courses that they want to do is because they don't get the CAPASMAC that they need. And that there's also a difference between a wish and a reality.
And a reality.
You may wish to be something, but you actually don't have the capacity to be it. So that's why what Linus is talking about is important, that we also need to have a reality check. You know, I love music, but I can't sing to save my life. And if I decide that I'm going to go into studying music, I will be poor for the rest of my life, you know, except my family, who will be the ones buying the music. So it's important that he said, yes, I want to be a doctor, but do I have the capacity to be a doctor? If already in secondary school you're failing biology, you know, and you're not doing so well, I think it's pretty obvious to you that this is not...
No, this is not my path.
Exactly. So it's important to think, okay, I could have a wish, but that wish does not mean that this is what where my skills are. And sometimes by developing your skills, you might actually end up getting a new passion for something that you really have the capacity for.
Okay, let's hear from the youth now.
At this point in time, I'll beg to this.
Let's know you, please.
Okay, sorry. My name is Victor Mbang. I'm the chairman of Youth Summit Nigeria. I'll beg to disagree with some of the opinions raised. It might shock you to know that we have a lot of youth residents in this country who have developed both skill and leadership capabilities. But the platform for them to put these giftings into use, it's not there. I'll give you a typical example. The national conference that just ended. How many percentage of the youths were appointed to be at the national conference? When the leaders don't have faith in us, the youth, what else does the future hold for us?
My name is Balafumi Adeyemi, and I'm a project manager at Champs PLC, and also a young entrepreneur. I run my own business as well, as almost every youth that is inspired by someone does, not to hold on to the white collar job and hold on to the 9 to 5, but to be better and to be able to inspire other people. I have a number, like 8 different youths doing the IT service with me in Champs, and I look at them as my younger ones, and I teach them not just to leave school to learn the academics, but be able to come out of school to be respectful, because being respectful to me is one of the important qualities of being a leader. When you can look at anyone of any age and be able to respect who they are, what they are, regardless of the position they're in. To me, it's one of the foundations our parents teach us, that you should always be respectful. And the meaning is not just so that you don't get the smack at the back of your head if you're disrespectful, because you go out there looking decent, speaking well, speaking very respectful. People look at you and be like, that's a good person. I want to know he or she more.
Influencing your society is very important. Well, I have to, sorry, I need to go back for the final word with our panelists here. Do we have a right mix? Do you think that we can chart a new course for leadership quality in our youths to be part of nation building?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, President Obama, last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, had inspired 500 young Africans. I mean, most African leaders went there and they were like, wow. But this is what some of us have been campaigning for the past how many years in our own country. We have seen the future already, and that's why the Emerging Leaders Conference, you know, for me, is designed to be a tool for 1,000 young people to gather from all over Nigeria, you know, to be influenced and impacted by some of the greatest leaders that we ever can imagine, you know, this Friday and Saturday. So, in my own thinking, that's the way to go.
I'll take that from your Linus. Yes, final word, please.
I wanted to talk to the young man who's who sounds very disillusioned and who feels that the space is not being given to young people, and there's no question about it. But you have to also understand that no one gives anyone anything. That whatever it is you want, you have to take it, especially in a country such as ours. And that for young people to be able to make a difference in this country, that they really have to find the space. The problem with Nigerian leadership also has a lot to do with Nigerian followership. We are the ones who allow the leaders to do the things that they do. I was on an occasion once, and this was a minister was being honored, and somebody else who was in government high up was supposed to come to be the chief whatever of the occasion. And the person didn't come until almost 2 hours into the event. And when, he came, everyone stood up, and I refused to stand. And I said, no, this man is late and has completely disrespected this person who is much older than him as well. But everybody was like, won't you stand? And I refused to do it. And you see, the point is, there was only one person. I didn't make a point, of course. But if all of us had sat down and had refused to honor this man, he won't come late to an event the next time. It is our followership that is the problem. Our followership is timid. Our followership is passive. And we really need to be able to make a difference. In every country, it's young people who make a difference in that country. But they don't do it by being given the space, because anybody who has a space will protect it. And if you want something, you have to take it. Yes. So we have to become better followers.
Thank you.
I think I just want to say that I've been privileged to live in 4 different countries. And the youth in Nigeria have to understand that we're in a global race. It's not a race of one Nigerian against another Nigerian anymore. You're competing with the Ghanaians, you're competing with the South Africans. I'm privileged where I get to work with different African nations. So I get to see a lot of the, how do I put this, the fast-paced technology. I know what's going on in Kenya. I know what's going on in South Africa. So my encouragement to the youth is to understand that you're in a global race and you have to take it upon yourselves to develop yourselves. I mentioned about habits. You really have to evaluate what you do every single day as a Nigerian and as an African, because like I told you, the world is a bit more global than it used to be maybe 20 years ago.
I'll take that from you. It's a global village, and we need to improve on what we do. And nobody's waiting for us. And you are the leaders. You are the hope for a better Nigeria. As we continue to build a bridge to sustain Nigeria and put Nigeria, we're not just big brothers by name, but we should be big brothers by the youths and what you do and what you are able to do and what you can prove to the world that you are indeed part of the global race. That's the only way we can build a sustainable nation. I thank you all for coming on Bridges. We'll continue to build a bridge of national development. Remember, nobody's waiting for you. You have to do it yourself. Thank you all. Bridges will be back same time next week. Thanks for watching.